Lorna. Th- Thank you. Welcome. That's great. Thank you, Marwa. Appreciate it. Okay, are there any announcements that we need to make? No announcements. Okay. So, about 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, we had a gentleman, Bill, and district judge. He wrote a thank you card, and I want to read it. Thank you from your unexpected honorarium of $100, which I will donate to the First Step program. And thank you, the challengers, for allowing me to tell you about this project, which has been so impactful among the great need. And that's from Bill. So it's just amazing to me how we, as a collective challenger class, come and listen and then realize how impactful our class really is. It's quite amazing to me. So we're going to have a speaker, and Cheryl, hold on one second. We have to have a prayer. There she is. Cinda.
You want me to stand up? Sure. Yeah. Our Father in heaven, we come to you in prayer with gratitude for the many blessings you've given us. We are continually humbled by your gifts of beauty, provision, and abundance. In this world so full of tragedies, wars, hopelessness, and terrifying political situations, help us to know how to pray and show us the way to help. We boldly ask for healing for those of us who are ill and are in pain. We pray for help with family and work challenges. We thank you for this congregation and for those who work prayerfully to lead us. We ask for generous hearts and open minds for this presentation today, and always for discernment of your will for us. Have mercy on us, Lord, for we are yours and yours forever. Through Jesus we pray. Amen.
Thank you very much, Cinda. That was beautiful. Okay. Hello. Have a seat. We're just about to get our program started for this Sunday. So next up will be Cheryl introducing our speaker.
Thank you, Mike. Well, I want to introduce to you Kimberly Hill-Crowell. She is the Chief Clinical Officer of Grand Mental Health in Tulsa. It's a statewide organization, correct? But she's in Tulsa here. And getting prepared to introduce her, I did a little bit more research. I did the bold step of looking up the definition of aging in the dictionary, and you're going to love it. It's the time-related, this is what you're really going to love, deterioration of the physiological functions necessary for survival and reproduction. According to the World Health Organization, aging is commonly measured by chronological age, and as a convention, that age would be 65. I think we've all arrived. Kimberly's worked for 25 years in the mental health field and 17 years at Grand, so she's going to use her experience and help us to look toward navigating some of the issues that we might be confronted with as we are on this journey of deterioration.
Well, thank you for that warm welcome. I did not look up the definition of aging, and maybe I should have. Well, thank you so much. Thank you so much for that warm welcome. I'm Kimberly Hill-Crowell, and I've been working in mental health, like you said, for 25 years. And I just really appreciate you all having me here today. This is a topic that is very near and dear to my heart. And I think, obviously impacts everyone, whether it's ourselves or someone that we love. And so it's definitely something to talk about. Just a little bit more about me, just on a personal note. I have 4 children. The oldest is 24. She just got married in April, and I just found out I'm going to be a grandparent. So I am very excited. And so I'm, just thinking about that. I do have my parents. I'm so blessed that my parents are with me. My father 2 years ago was diagnosed with stage 4 cancer, and so we've been going through a lot of things in our family just with his health and just making sure that he's taken care of. And so when you spoke about that definition and age and deterioration of the body, that just really rung for me. So we're going to talk about just the topic of mental health and aging, and whether we're talking about ourselves, like I said, or our loved ones, it just really brings a mix of challenges. It brings changes and it brings opportunity. And so I think that's something that we sometimes forget about as we're working through life. And so my goal today is to normalize this journey and to really provide some tools, reflection points, and encouragement for us today. So, what do you all think about when you hear the term mental health? When you hear the term mental health, what do you think of? Sorry? Homeless? Okay. What else do you think of when you hear the term mental health? Alzheimer's? Okay. Trauma? Okay, one's ability to function in society. Depression. Anxiety. Loneliness. The brain. Treatment. I like all these. It's all those things. Hope. Ah, yes. Anything else? So we'll start with a shared truth. So aging is not just about our physical body, right? It's not just about navigating the changes in our physical body. It is about navigating losses. It's about those transitions, and it's about new identities. It's about new identities that we're going to find as we navigate through life. So mental health in this context often gets overlooked and misunderstood. So too often we hear things like, that's just part of getting old. I should be stronger than this. But the truth is mental health matters at every age. So today we're going to talk about mental health and aging and what it really looks like and how to recognize changes and how to support ourselves with compassion. So mental health in older age is more than just avoiding depression. We brought up depression, we brought up anxiety. It's more than about those things. It's about connection. So I really like the fact that you all are meeting here in this group and that you all meet every Sunday. Wow, what an important piece of connection that you guys have here today. It's about feeling connected, being purposeful, being emotionally well, being able to handle stressors that come with change. So as we get older, some things are natural. We might process things a little slower. I'll just share for myself. I've noticed that my brain fog is happening and I'm not remembering some words as easily as I used to. And so it's taking me a little bit more time to recover from some things, like words aren't coming to me right now. And so I'm having to look at my notes. I'm like, what is happening to me? And so I'm Googling things like perimenopause, and I'm like, what is, and I'm talking to my husband. He's like, what are you talking about? I'm like, and he's like, men go through that too because of, he's like, I'm dealing with you. And I'm like, stop. But it's a real thing. And I'm like, I don't think you understand what's happening to me emotionally. It's not just what's happening physically, right? So some of those things are normal. But there's things that are not. So when we talk about those feelings of hopelessness, you brought up hope, which is phenomenal. That is so important. That is so important in everything that we do. But when you start feeling hopelessness, and when we start feeling disconnected from others, or when we're persistently down, those are things that aren't a part of aging. Those are things that we have to stay aware of, that aren't a part of what should normally be how we're feeling. Also, as we live longer, we're carrying decades of emotional history with us, right? So family dynamics. Ooh, family dynamics. Here in a couple of weeks, I'm doing a talk on mental health and holidays. And so that really brings on family dynamics when you think about holidays, right? So career shifts, losses, trauma, as we live longer, those things happen more and more to us, right? And so I think those things can resurface and really impact how we feel every day. So I'm interested to know what you were taught about addressing your mental health. Nothing? Nothing. Okay. On purpose. Okay. Okay. Yeah. It was a weakness. It'll destroy your permanent record. I feel that now. I have a hard time with my dad. He will not tell me if he's like, I literally, when I walk into the home, I know by looking at him if he doesn't feel well, or I know if something's wrong. And so I'm like, we're going. And he's like, no, we're not. I'm like, yes, we are. So, yeah. Anything else that we were taught? Really just not to say anything, right? Ignore it. Yeah, weren't taught to get hope. Just not a thing. You just don't do it. You just kind of work through it. Don't talk about it. Huge stigma. I'm sorry? What will people say? What will they think? Mm-hmm. Has your perspective changed at all over the years? So really society is helping to change that perspective now. Okay. So has that helped to change so even though growing up, we've been taught to be quiet about that, to not talk about it, do you think that things that are happening now with, celebrities coming out or athletes coming out saying that their mental health, talking about their mental health challenges, do you think that's helped you to change your perspective? Okay. There wasn't anything. Yeah, it's more acceptable now. Yes. Yeah. Staying connected. I love it. I love it. So I really appreciate that society is recognizing that acknowledging your mental health needs is a strength, right? It is a strength. It is not a weakness. It's not something we should stay quiet about. It's something we should talk about. It's something we should share. Our loved ones should know about it. Our friends should know about it. We should be connecting with one another.
and making sure that our friends, our family, our support system know what's going on in our lives. Anybody else want to share? It's really a part of our health. It's not just about physical health. Our mental health is a part of our health. And I think that's become really huge in society. And I really appreciate that because it hasn't been. Mm-hmm. Yep. Yeah, they have those screening questions now. They ask you, do you feel safe at home? Do you have food? Do you have electricity? Do you have those things? They ask a depression scale to see how you're doing. Those things are tracked and monitored to make sure that, you know, if you were to answer yes to any of those questions, what would happen on the other end is that you would have a warm handoff to someone that could help you with those needs. It better. If it doesn't, you all call me. Yeah. Mm. Okay. Mm. So she's talking about medication being more normalized with the younger generation. And then being asked, you know, do you have space? Do you have space to recognize if something's going on with you? Do you have space to realize that maybe you're struggling? Do you even recognize that? Are you so busy in your life? Do you even know that something's going on? Do you have time to even step back and realize that you're not dealing with something that's happening in your life? Mm. I think what's really important is, and what I found is that it's not just medication. You have to learn to utilize coping skills, and we're going to talk about those things in a minute. What you'll see actually in my presentation, I actually don't talk about medication at all. I just talk about connection, and I talk about making sure that you're recognizing the symptoms of if you aren't doing well, if you are isolating, if you aren't connected, if you're pulling away from others, and so that you can go ask for help. Because medication isn't for everyone, but it may be that you need a combination of connecting, having some talk therapy, and medication. Most people just need to talk, need to work through that, need to develop some coping skills, some relaxation skills, and things like that. So, yes. Mm-hmm.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Bill, thanks, Bill. Appreciate that. So, I mean, it's always that step, you know, that they use, whether it's the police, whether it's therapy, you know, and such. And how do you feel about that? I mean, why is that? Is that a scapegoat? Is it, you know, just let's push it off on mental health? You know, there's got to be other factors, you know, why someone takes someone's life. You know?
I think there's a lot that comes into play with that.
Yeah.
I think that mental health impacts everyone, and that there are various things that come into play. And so I think that is something that, not that it's a scapegoat, but yes, it absolutely impacts everyone. And when you're talking about the brain and what's going on there, and that it is something that you can grab onto for anything and anyone. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does.
So,
I'll bring this around. Mike? Yeah, you can buy it. Yeah, thank you.
so let's talk about big life transitions that impact mental health and aging. Uh-oh.
Testing one.
I turned my, okay, are we good now? So, loss and grief are central experiences. I think the longer we live, the more that this impacts us. Losing children, spouses, friends, roles in our lives, routines that we're used to having truly shake us deeply. Physical changes, so chronic pain, fatigue can be really frustrating. It can lead to withdrawal. We, start pulling away from others if we're not feeling good, of course. We withdraw from social situations if we're not feeling well, so that disconnects us from others, right? Isolation and loneliness often creep in, not just from being alone, but from feeling overlooked or no longer needed. If we were talking earlier about the fact that you're not supposed to talk about those things, or you're not supposed to tell anyone. So if you're feeling that way, then you're going to pull away from others, and you're not going to tell anyone those things. You're going to isolate, which is going to make you feel more lonely, which is going to make you feel even more sad. So all those things just compound on one another. Retirement, shifting identity. That can be so confusing, especially if your purpose is so tied to what you were doing. That can really change. I'm just thinking, even for myself, finding out I'm going to be a grandmother, like I'm even just focused on that. I don't even want to think about work anymore. I'm like, I'm not even gonna work. I'm just gonna go hang out with my grandbaby. I'm like, oh wait, I gotta have a job to pay for all the stuff I'm gonna buy this baby, because whoo. So I mean, there's a lot that comes into just life, right? And the longer that we live, the more that these transitions are gonna impact us. And so what transitions have been the most difficult for you? Retirement?
When you're so into work every day, doing some things every day, traveling around, my kids traveling around 9 states. And then suddenly I thought, okay, what do I do today?
Mm-hmm.
And what do I do tomorrow? And it wasn't there anymore. And it's very difficult.
For sure. Loss of a spouse. Care facility, living in a care facility. Mm-hmm. Loss of hearing. Oh. Yep. Okay. Get tired of saying what, and you just don't listen anymore. Mm-hmm. I would probably just pretend like I heard, and then just maybe say. I know that my kids just agree to stuff, and I'm like, y'all better quit doing that. Mm-hmm. Transitioning out of. Mm-hmm. Sure, absolutely. The ability to write clearly. So these are all very human responses to change, right? And so acknowledging them does not make us weak. It makes us honest. And acknowledging, and kind of like we were talking about earlier, we have to acknowledge them so that we can address them and so that we can find the things to help us cope with them and to move forward. So now we're going to talk about how we can support our own mental health during these transitions. So I've been talking a lot about connection and why connection matters, whether it's friends, community, volunteering, a weekly phone call. Connection is one of the most important protective factors that we have. So when I talk about protective factors, those are the things that are most important to your mental health. Those are the things, they're called protective factors because that's what protects your mental health. And so again, I mentioned earlier, this group is phenomenal. I love it. To have a group like this of lifelong learners, oh my gosh, like I love it. It kind of makes me think, I have a friend group. We've been, some of us have been friends since kindergarten. And so I feel like it's okay to tell you guys how long that's been. That's been a long time. That's been 40 years for me. And so, you know, that's a very special connection for me to have. And so I hope that never goes away. And I hope my children are able to have connections like that, to have people that when I am suffering loss, I lost my brother 6 years ago. And if I didn't have them, I probably would have been done for sure. So to have folks like this in your life that you connect with, whether it's a social connection or it's a family connection, it's so important to have these things and to just have anyone to just call upon. Mental stimulation, learning something new, joining a book club if that's your passion. I personally like books. I know some people hate them. Doing puzzles, something to keep your brain engaged, whatever that may be. Do y'all have what helps keep your brain engaged? What gives you energy? What? I couldn't hear you. Wordle? Oh, it's a game. Okay, Wordle. I was like, what? I thought you said girdle. Wordle. Okay. I don't feel like I'd be good at that game. Engagement. Okay. Mahjong. Ooh. Bridge. What else gives you energy? Exercise. Okay. Do you guys have exercise classes that you go to? Here? I feel like I need to come to this church. Okay. So movement and nutrition. So we were talking about exercise. That plays a huge role. So even light physical activity can improve your mood, can reduce your stress. So make sure you're keeping active. And then processing emotions. So journaling, creative outlets, talking to a counselor. It's not about fixing things. So we were talking about space earlier. It's about giving yourself space for what you're feeling, for what's going on in your body. You have another handout. It says building resilience, and it has just a brief reminder of what these steps are on there for you, just to help remind you. So that's just for you to have. I also added on there just on my PowerPoint, just spiritual practices, whatever that means for you. Prayer, Bible study. I mean, that can mean anything. Anything that I missed that anyone can think of? Sure. Yep. Being persistent, making it a habit. Absolutely. Longevity. Absolutely. So, one of the greatest challenges of aging is redefining what it means to live with purpose. Somebody mentioned retirement earlier and feeling like, what now? Like, what am I supposed to do now? So, what does purpose mean to you now compared to earlier in life? Have you all thought about that? What does purpose mean to you now compared to earlier in life? Priority changes?
I think we have to get up every morning and be glad that we are moving and are as healthy as possible and to be optimistic.
Okay. Okay, now we don't know. Okay. So it changes, right? It changes for us. So I want to talk about the legacy and the wisdom that is in this room. You have some of the most valuable gifts in this room, whether it's passing on the stories that you have, it's supporting younger generations, or it's simply being present with others. You have so much wisdom in this room, and you can share it with so many others. That is some purpose right there. I'm just excited to think about what I could learn from every single person sitting in this room. So what are some ways that you could continue to share your wisdom? He said he's a lot more interested in sharing his wisdom than his children are in hearing it. Okay. Fair.
Mike recently shared, because of a conversation that we'd had, some information about his background and his life. That's brought meaning. It's important that someone can do that.
So share with each other even. Okay. Well, I think sometimes those closest to us maybe don't even recognize how much we offer, right? Okay. Letting our kids figure it out. It is hard. Mm-hmm. So you're telling me I'm going to have to learn how to be quiet with my grandbaby? I'm just kidding. Sure. Mm. Give and receive. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So a lot of times, I often ask, "Do you want to know what I think?" Sometimes they want to know what I think, and sometimes they don't. And if they don't, I have to be okay with that. But a lot of times they're like, "Well, here's what I get." Well, yeah, I wouldn't have told you if I didn't want to know what you thought. Okay.
I think just being present is a huge gift. And I remember when I lost my mom and how much I realized that just her presence, whether she was saying anything or not, was a huge thing. So I want to do that.
Okay, absolutely. So another thing is redefining productivity is really important. So it might mean a calm presence. It's like you're reading my mind. Offering kindness or simply enjoying life more slowly. So, when we were younger, we were doing things and we were constant and we were busy, and it may be just taking a step back and just really enjoying that now. My husband and I have been talking about, I think really, since we're going to have this grandbaby, what's that life going to look like? And talking about slowing down and, what's that going to look like to now travel because they live 6 hours away from us. I'm like, this is going to be horrible. And then living intentionally. It can look like saying no to things that drain us. So making those decisions, like what have we said yes to before that maybe we didn't really want to, and actually making that decision to say no and yes to things that fill us, and creating space for joy and connection. There's that word again, connection, for what still brings meaning to us. So because I got about 9 minutes left before we open for questions, I just want to invite you for a bit of reflection. I feel like we've kind of done quite a bit of that, but I have some more for you. We can do this privately or we can share them out loud if you're comfortable. I feel like this group is pretty good at sharing, so I like that. But what's helped you through your biggest life transitions? Actually, yeah, let's just do that. So can you share with me what's helped you through your biggest life transitions? Oh, we got lots of hands. I'm just going to do this.
When I put my husband in memory care, God brought back into my life someone that I had been real close to in the 70s. In 23, she came back into my life. And so family and friends is what supported me through that difficult time. And I wanted to go back to the wisdom in this room. When my children were in high school and junior high, my prayer was that they would have another adult that they could look up to, that would have the same Christian values that I had and my husband, that they could turn to because they don't always turn to parents. And I wanted them to be comfortable turning to someone that I would trust and that happened in their life. And I think all of us can be that to someone else. Our prayer each day is that we will be the light of Christ wherever we go, whoever we meet. And that's kind of the legacy that every Christian wants to be. But the support of family and friends, and I have tons of friends. So.
Love it, that connection. All right, I saw some more hands up back here. That's why I ran back here.
Family support.
Who else had their hand up?
Mine would be the support of my loving wife.
And prayer. Prayer is such an important part of any issue or problem, is you start there.
Absolutely. Anybody else?
I told you about retirement. I went back to work. And only this time I went back to a no stress, no big problem. And, we left a group of friends, we moved to a state that I'd never been in before. A new house, a brand new set of friends, which takes a while to develop. And work gave me the opportunity to travel throughout Oklahoma and meet a lot of people in a no stress kind of way. So that helped a ton to go back to work.
I would say
a good counselor because they don't know you and they're totally unbiased.
You're talking to my heart. So, how do you take care of your mental and emotional health now? How are you all taking care of that? Staying busy, doing things you like to do, coming to this group. You're in charge of your own time. Oh, I can't wait. So, and I think we talked about this a little bit, but what still brings you joy, peace, and a sense of meaning? Friends, faith, family. What'd you say? Bourbon? I think my husband would agree. So these questions aren't meant to solve everything, but just to open doors to conversations, self-awareness, sometimes just naming the things that help us is the first step forward, right? So just thinking about those things, reminding ourselves of the things that bring us purpose, right? That helps remind us to what connects us. Connection. Yep. Making new friends. Yep. Getting connected to community. That I can't reiterate enough that is definitely the key. So we are now to questions. And I don't know if I should start with a question, but I'm going to. I'm just curious to know, and to get feedback from you all, what, if you did need help, because that's so important, and if you were in a spot where you needed more than just a friend and you needed to reach out for help, what might make it easier for you to reach out for help? Okay. Okay. Sure. Yes. That's what I'm feeling, yeah. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Yeah. Mm. Yeah, that would impact you for sure. Okay. Okay. Oh, wow. What's going on neurologically? Okay. Yeah. What questions do you have? Do you have any questions? Is there anything I didn't talk about today that you might want to know? I think we hit on the word connection a lot, and that's so key. My contact information is on the screen. Please, please, please reach out if you have any questions, if you need anything, or if you know anyone that might need some help. But these aren't easy topics to talk about. I just appreciate the fact that you wanted to talk about it. But you know, the conversation definitely is something that needs to happen always. And I just appreciate the fact that you all are so willing to have the conversation and to be open and to share with me your experiences and your wisdom. But if you ever want to reach out, there is my contact information. So again, thank you so much for your time today. Yes, Mark. Oh. Mark wants to know about the state funding in mental health for Oklahoma. Well, it's still up in the air. Currently, the interim commissioner is working through all of our contracts. All we know at this point is we will know by 9/1 if we're losing any contracts. So that is what we have been told. So we are just continuing to advocate as much as we can that, you know, we get additional funding to support mental health and substance use services across Oklahoma. I think they've heard us. I've spent a lot of time at the Capitol advocating for our needs, and I'll be honest. So there was a select committee for mental health, and they spent so much time with us. I was so grateful. One of them spent 45 minutes with us, and like I couldn't believe it. Usually they're just super like real fast, like they really don't have time for you kind of thing, and they just take your material and go. This gentleman spent 45 minutes with us, listening to us, took all our material, asked for more so he could give it to all of the select committee in mental health. And so I really felt heard. So, I mean, I'm feeling pretty hopeful about it. Yes, sir. Sure. Sure. So I'm with Grand Mental Health. We are a certified community behavioral health clinic, and we serve individuals ages birth through the lifespan. And so our population that we serve is the indigent population. However, we have what we call a no wrong door policy. So if you come into our clinic, we are going to serve you. We are going to make sure that you get what you need. If we don't have what you need at our clinic, we're going to make sure you get it. So whether it's referring you to another location. So for example, if you have private insurance, like I said, we serve the indigent population. So we're going to make sure you get to a clinic that has what you need. We have a lot of facilities across the state of Oklahoma. A lot of our care has to do with crisis management. We also have a substance use facility, what was previously 12 and 12. It is now the Grand Addiction Recovery Center. And so we have a 205-bed residential treatment facility for substance use. And then we also have 38 detox beds. And so literally you can come walk into our facility anywhere in your recovery journey, and we're able to assist you with that. We also have school-based services where we have staff embedded in the school system. We're in Tulsa Public Schools, Broken Arrow, as well as Glenpool, where we have staff embedded in the school system. So if students are in need of care, we can assist them with that. Absolutely.
Kimberly, what type of retention do you have for individuals that work in the mental health industry? Staying, because that can be very taxing. And what type of release do you do? Where's your oxygen come from?
Sure. So he asked what kind of retention we have with our staff. We actually have, we have people that have worked for us for a year. We have people that have worked for us for 45 years. So it really just varies. I've been with the agency for 17 years. So it really just depends. And then we employ individuals with a high school diploma to, doctorates. So, we really have the full gamut of individuals working for us. What fills my cup is serving. That really, truly, I have wanted to be in the helping field since I was in middle school. I remember my school counselor meeting with me, and I was like, I want to do this when I grow up. I didn't realize that being a school counselor didn't actually mean like doing counseling until I got older. And what's interesting, just a fun fact, I was my first job ever was waiting tables at a restaurant, and the CEO of Grand Mental Health was like, Kim, what are you doing? I was like, what do you mean, what am I doing? He's like, well, what are you going to do when you graduate school? You're getting your degree in psychology, right? And I was like, yeah, I'm going to go into private practice. Not knowing, right, like all that it takes to go into private practice. Like, that's a lot of work. That's a lot of overhead. He's like, you need to come work at Grand Mental Health. I'm like, what is that? He had no clue. And so then he was like, we're a community mental health agency, and he explained to me what it was. And so I applied, had a phone interview at first with the administrator at the time. We were on the phone for 2 hours, just talking about community mental health. I had no idea that that's truly where my passion lied until I spoke with her. And so here I am. And so that's what fills my cup. Okay. All right. Thank you so much.
Okay. This, Miss.